You open a streaming app and start scrolling. There are hundreds of movies waiting. New releases, award winners, shows everyone keeps recommending. You watch a few trailers, read a few descriptions, add something to your list, then keep scrolling. 10 minutes pass. Nothing feels right. And somehow you end up choosing the same movie you have already seen 5 times. You know the opening scene. You know which jokes are coming. You know who will leave, who will return, and exactly how the story ends. Still, when the familiar music begins, something inside you relaxes. So why do we return to stories we already know when there are so many new ones waiting? Part of the answer is simple. New stories require attention. You have to learn the characters, understand their relationships, remember names, notice clues, and wonder what might happen next. Even an enjoyable movie asks your mind to keep up. A familiar movie asks for much less. You already know where the story is going, so you do not have to watch every second carefully. You can make tea, check your phone, fold laundry, or close your eyes for a moment without feeling lost. The movie keeps moving, but it does not demand anything from you. After a long day, that can feel surprisingly comforting. When life has been noisy, unpredictable, or tiring, choosing something new can feel like one more decision. Another thing to understand. Another chance to be disappointed. A familiar movie removes that uncertainty. You know the tense scene will be resolved. You know the character will make it home. You know the ending will not suddenly change. For a little while, the world becomes predictable. The story may contain danger, sadness, or conflict, but it is a danger you already understand. Nothing can truly surprise you because you have already survived it once. That is why people often return to familiar movies during stressful periods. It is not always about the movie being the best one available. It may simply be the safest choice. But comfort is only part of it. Movies rarely stay connected only to what happened on the screen. They attach themselves to rooms, people, seasons, and old versions of our lives. A comedy might remind you of watching television late at night with your family. A fantasy movie might bring back the feeling of being a child during winter. A certain scene might return you to your first apartment, a past relationship, or a time when your biggest problems felt much smaller. When you press play again, you are not only returning to the story. You are returning to the place where the story first found you. Sometimes, we think we miss the movie. What we really miss is who we were when we watched it. Maybe you remember sitting on an old sofa that no longer exists. Maybe someone was beside you who is no longer part of your life. Maybe you had no idea how much would change in the years that followed. The movie stayed the same. You did not. That can make rewatching feel like opening a small door into the past. For 2 hours, the music sounds exactly as it did before. The characters say the same words, the same rooms appear, the same ending waits patiently. Everything inside the story is still where you left it. Familiar characters can also begin to feel like predictable company. They do not ask how you are doing. They do not need an answer. They arrive when you press play and disappear when you are ready. You know their habits, their voices, their mistakes, and the way they react. In real life, people can change unexpectedly. Conversations can go wrong. Relationships can become confusing. Familiar characters do not change between viewings. They become part of a world you can enter without explaining yourself. This does not mean the experience is always identical. Even though the movie stays the same, you often notice different things each time. As a child, you may have cared about the adventure. Years later, you understand the parent who was afraid to let go. A character you once disliked may suddenly make sense. A scene that used to feel unimportant may become the one that stays with you. The story did not reveal something new. You brought something new to it. Every time you return, you watch through a slightly different version of yourself. You have had more experiences. Lost things, gained things, learned what certain choices cost. That is why the same movie can feel funny at one age, sad at another, and comforting years later. Rewatching is not always about escaping change. Sometimes it is one of the ways we notice change. The familiar story becomes a kind of measuring point. It stays still while we move forward, allowing us to see the distance between who we were and who we are now. So choosing the same movie again does not necessarily mean you are afraid of something new. It may mean you are tired and need something gentle. It may mean you want a world that asks less from you. Or it may mean that, for one evening, you want to visit a place where an older version of you is still sitting quietly, waiting for the opening scene. The movie has not changed, but each time you return, you have.